Good afternoon, kings and queens, and welcome to Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L. I am your host, Lady L, of Success Beyond Strategies, LLC, building strategies that become successful actions, helping business owners and entrepreneurs identify their vision, mission, and purpose, turning them into legal, successful, and profitable business entities. This show is brought to you by the Magnet Exchange Group, a book club, a social club of like-minded individuals with a powerful magnetic attraction that develops healthy relationships, positive personal development, sharing wisdom and experiences in generational wealth development and wealth preservation. We have been going through a segment called Business Empowerment, Days of the Week. That's DAYZ, sharing some golden nuggets to get you successfully and victoriously through your week. We have Fresh Start Mondays, Tackle It Tuesdays, Work It Out Wednesdays, Thankful Thursdays, Finish Strong Fridays, and Saturdays is Successful Saturdays. And what we do is we analyze, we dissect, and we go through everything that has happened during the week with our businesses, our ministries, and our organizations. And we make sure that we are preparing ourselves for the following week to go forward with our business. We're doing assessments, we're doing constructive feedback. We've been talking about some subjects such as, and if you have missed any of our series, we've been doing the Power series. If you have been missing any of the Power series, you need to go to my YouTube channel. That's Lady Verne. That's LadyVerne. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and hit the bell so that you won't miss any more of these awesome, awesome shows. And I guarantee you, in the course of the day, there's one of the messages that's going to pop up into your feed, and it's going to be just what you need to hear on that day to help encourage you, to edify you, to build you up, to go forward, to continue, to be determined, to walk in tenacity, to be consistent, to be flexible, regrouping when you need to, make assessments and reassessments so that you are making sure that you are putting in every effort to have a successful, profitable business. So we have been talking about assessments. We kind of introduced it earlier in the week, last week, and it was so meaty we had to break it down so that we can cover quite a bit in a short period of time. So now we are talking about creating an assessment that gives you the ability to clearly define and identify the learning outcomes, because we don't capitalize on mistakes. They are lessons. Those are experiences that you needed to go through for your growth, your personal development, to give you insight and foresight, and to even examine hindsight what has happened in your business, ministry, or organization. And what it ends up doing is making sure that you are making the right assessments to go forward. So that is so important, that when you clearly define and identify the learning experiences that you came out of from an experience, whether it was with those that serve among you or serve with you, those that are employees or your management teams, whatever and whoever you are serving and working with, even your clients and your customers can give you certain assessments. That's what's so beautiful about your comments. And when they leave comments on your websites, when they leave comments on your social media about your products and your services, take heed to what they're saying and really be honest and open with yourselves, with your staff, those that labor among you, and really sit down and say, is this really true? And if it is, how do we fix it? And remember, we talked about earlier this week about getting your staff personnel, your management team involved in the feedback process so that you are making the necessary tweaks for your business, so that you're making sure that you're not continuing to feed into disgruntled service workers and those that serve among you. So that is critically, critically important to make sure that you are taking the time to make the right assessments. We talk about in creating an assessment, It gives you the ability to select appropriate assessment measures and assessing and learning the outcomes of your business. That is so critically important to do that. You want to have the type of measuring tool, and we're going to go into measuring tool, assessment tools later on in the week. You want to make sure that you're using the appropriate assessment measures. Now that you have assessed what the situations are, what the circumstances are, now you want to make sure that you are putting together the right measures, the right activities, the right solutions, the right options. You want to make sure that you are applying things that make sense to you, that makes sense to those that serve among you, and that it is executable, meaning that it is able to be carried out on every level, whether it's your employees, your staff, your management teams. You want to make sure that at every level, what you have sat and assessed, and you looked at the appropriate measures or the appropriate way to handle the circumstantial situation. You want to make sure that you are taking care of that in the right manner with the right assessment, the right outcomes of that assessment that will propel your business going forward. And then taking those learning outcomes from those experiences that you've had, make sure you're getting feedback from your staff, your management, those that serve and labor among you, so that you can collectively together sit down. Well, because of this situation, how would you go about rectifying it? That's important. We talked about that at length earlier this week. Analyze the results of the outcomes assessed. Now, you've come up with solutions, you've come up with, you measured the outcomes, and you're saying, okay, now let's analyze the results. Now, this change, this option, this solution, now is that effective? Because you don't want to continue to go on in something that is repetitively not working. It not only frustrates you, but it frustrates your staff, it frustrates your clients and those that you serve. So because you want every experience that your clients and customers have to be a good one, to be a positive one. So it's an ongoing assessment. It's an ongoing process to make sure that you are having the experience you want to have. It's interesting. I was putting together an event for one of my Toastmasters clubs. And so I called two places because I always figured, at least give people a choice, right? So when I went to call one of the locations, she was very cordial. She was very helpful. She didn't, what amazed me, and I guess I could just chalk it up to the fact that millennials probably just haven't heard of Toastmasters. It's like, who hasn't heard of Toastmasters? Do you understand how powerful that organization is? It's like, well, who are y'all? It's like, okay, so I had to go into my spiel in the hopes that, hey, maybe going to this particular location, we may come out with some new club members. You never know. Or we may come out with some more crypto members. You never know. So it was interesting that to listen to her style of making sure that my arrangements, even though she had to keep going back to her manager and asking questions because she just didn't know the answer. So, but what I'm hoping out of that experience, out of that learning outcome, that she will now become a little bit more educated. Don't take for granted that just because it's this type of service, especially if it's an entertainment service like the movies or bowling or whatever, don't take those jobs lightly or for granted. You are servicing a mass of people at any given time. So you want to make sure that every customer leaves out, because, hey, you can have 10 or 20 good reviews, but one bad review will make people say, and you'll see those stars start going down from 5 to 4, from 3 to 2, just behind one bad assessment. So that's critically important. And when I called the other location, it was like, okay, she gave me some other alternatives. She asked a little bit more questions, a little bit more detail, so that she was able to service the need or the request that I had. And I was really impressed because when she went that extra mile, it made me say, now, if you're like me, talk is cheap sometimes. So I do drive-bys. So I did go to one location, and one location I was very familiar with. So the next location I'm going to check out before I go back to my team and say, okay, here are my recommendations. Because if I don't have an initial good experience in you acquiring my services, then why should I bring my team there? Why should I bring my organization to your facility? And this is how you have to think about your business. If you're talking about being, because there's fitness centers everywhere. What makes your fitness center different from all the other fitness centers and workout clubs? What makes yours different? You have to find that one niche thing that stood out. It was only just a couple of things, but that made my antenna go, I think I'd like that kind of service. That's all it takes. So make sure you are understanding the demographics of who you're serving, understand the demographics of who is serving your clients and customers, and make sure that there is a harmonious connection between those two things. And last, I want to talk about adjust to improve programs following the results of the learning outcomes assessed. So that's basically taking number 1, 2, and 3 and saying, okay, we analyzed first of all, we clearly defined and we identified what we learned from this situation. We selected the appropriate assessment measures to make sure that we are measuring the assessment or the situation correctly, and that we are truly getting the lesson from the experience. Then you want to analyze the results of the new options that you are using to make sure that they are effective, or you have to make adjustments and improve the programs or the services or the products that you're providing following the results of learning from the outcomes of the original circumstance or situation that caused you to need to sit down and say, we really need to make an assessment of this. I think we need to really do that. I appreciate the feedback from all of you, and just encouraging your staff, your management teams, and those that serve among you, that you appreciate their feedback, that you appreciate what they contribute to your business. Because they say a happy wife, a happy life. Well, a happy husband makes a happy household. Okay, so that's a joint venture that we talk about in the Bandit Exchange group. I love it because I always thought that was kind of one-sided. But two, a happy business atmosphere starts with happy employees, because if you have happy employees, happy management teams, then you will have happy clients and customers, because they will serve them from a posture of being really content or happy with being in your organization, your business, and your ministry. So thank you again for joining me so much for Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L, Business Empowerment Days of the Week, with our successful Saturdays. Sit down. Usually I have our breathing exercise where we're just taking in 4 long breaths that fill out your whole diaphragm. Everything should be poking out for 4 counts. And then what you're going to do is release it for 6, which means you're going to be using those ab muscles, that diaphragm, so that you can have controlled breathing. Controlled breathing brings down the stress, brings down the situations from your mind, refreshing, relieving them off of your shoulders. And then you're just able to relax. And you may have to do that a few times, depending on the course of the day and what's going on in the day, but do what you have to do so that everybody, hey, make it a group exercise. All right, we're going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to see everybody in the back. Everybody breathe, whatever it takes to make sure that you are creating an atmosphere that people will want to come to your establishment, that will want to come to service in your business, your organization, and your ministry. That is so critically important. Don't forget to go to my Facebook page, Laverne Sproul, and friend me there. Make sure that you're going to my Instagram channel. That's Success Beyond Strategies. That's STRATEGZ. And make sure that you are following me there. And then also my YouTube channel. That's Lady Verne, LadyVerne. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button and that bell, because I know that you will definitely receive what you need. But also, too, leave a comment. Even better, share your takeaways from today's show and let me know how the show is being a help to you in your business development journey, okay? So remember, trust the journey. Adventure is calling, and you did not wake up today to be mediocre. So count your blessings and have a wonderful, successful Saturday. Bye-bye for now.